Hello, Haley. Welcome to the interview. I'm going to ask you a few questions. First, I'd like you to tell me about yourself.
Okay. Well, I have been a musician for as long as I can remember. I started taking piano lessons when I was 4 years old and took lessons for 12 years. Of course, I don't play piano anymore, but I still dabble on it in my free time, and I feel like I am qualified to teach it. This is something not a lot of people know about me, but in high school, I was very good at science. I excelled in chemistry and physics, and in fact, my physics teacher asked me if I wanted to major in physics in college because he told me he's never seen anybody work as hard as I did in his class. And I laughed and said, no, I don't want to major in a science. I want to be a musician. But now I think that's funny because I'm not good at science anymore. And when it comes to my free time, I love to bake. It relaxes me, and I love to do it when I'm feeling stressed out. So.
Awesome. Okay. Now tell me, why do you want this job? What makes you want this job?
Well, I have been following this program's successes over the past year, from marching band to UIL in the spring. And in fact, last fall, I went to a few of the competitions, and this program is just amazing. I was blown away. And I actually went to BOA San Antonio, and I remember you guys, I think it was fourth. It was fourth. And that's still great. I feel like, though, I could help the band out even more. I could bring them to a whole new level if I was able to do that.
Okay. What makes you qualified for this position?
Well, I went to Marcus High School in Flourmont under the very famous Amanda Drinkwater. And I will never forget how she taught us, how she ran her program, all of her brilliant teaching tactics, how she pushed us, how she set very, very high standards, how pass-offs had to be this and that and the other. It wasn't just about playing the music. And marching on the field was not just about making it from dot to dot. It was how you did it and how you sounded while doing it. And just everything I went through. I have never worked so hard in my life. And everything I put into her rehearsals, just everything she taught me, has made me the person that I am today. And I feel like going through that band program, going through that very successful band program under her, makes me extremely qualified to teach this program.
Good. If I were to walk into your rehearsal in October, what would I see or hear?
Well, October. That's towards the end of marching season, so you would be hearing our marching band show music. And because it would be October, we would most likely be working on the memorization of earlier parts in the show that we started learning in August. So they would be standing in concert arcs in order to practice their step outs. And you would not see stands because we would be working on memorization. But their music would be at their feet. So after running a chunk of music or a whole part, they would be able to pick up their music for reference. You could be doing that, or we could be working on the end of the show. And since that would have gotten passed out to them maybe end of September, they would probably still be working on that. So then we might have stands, and we'd be rehearsing and reading that music.
Good. Tell me about your philosophy on education versus competition.
When it comes to education, I feel that it is not only important to teach the required subject, such as music, but it's important to teach skills and characteristics that the students will need to have with them when they go into their adult life. I feel it's very important for them to understand what it means to work hard, what it means to be responsible, how to be disciplined, how to organize their lives, to keep their band life and their personal life and their work life separate. I just don't want to send off these kids after graduation being great musicians. I want them to be compelled and achieving adults that are ready to take on the world as well.
Okay.
And when it comes to competition, I feel like it is never about winning. It's never about winning. Competitions are there to measure how you are doing over time and to see how your hard work has paid off. And what's great about having a competition every week is that it not only gives the students something to work for, but it gives the directors able to see how they've been doing in only a week's time. A week is not that long of a period. So from week to week, you can measure how much you're progressing or not. And then because it gives the students something to look forward to, it pushes them to work hard and grow as musicians and as a band. And that's what competing is about. It's never about winning the competition.
Good. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
In 5 years? Well, in 5 years, I would like to be running a stable band program. I hope that for my first 5 years of teaching, I will have learned through everything I went through and will be an even better teacher than I will be my first time out. I want to be establishing a name for myself and start creating a solid, good reputation for my band program.
Good. If I were to call a reference, say Miss Drinkwater, what would she say about you?
Well, I like to help people out. If somebody needs me to help them with a task or for me to fill in for them at some sort of event or job, if I'm able to, I would like to do that. I mean, yes, it is nice to have the opportunity to do things, but being involved and just being able to help people out is wonderful, and I'm a big believer in that. She would probably also say that I am very responsible. I tend to be positive and upbeat, but mostly that I am extremely organized. I have a planner and I carry it with me everywhere, and it's filled with everything I need to have, dates, everything I need to do every day, and everything is color-coded, and I'm extremely organized.
Good. Tell me about your concept of sound. If you were to have to teach a student about sound, what would you say?
Well, sound is caused by vibrations, of course. So when it comes to wind instruments, air through the instrument is what causes sound to come out the bow. And each instrument has their own characteristic sound. Like, this is the way the horn is supposed to sound like. And there's a way for the oboe to sound like. And there's one sound that the bassoon needs to sound like. And your goal is to get your students to find those characteristic sounds. And all of those singular characteristic sounds of those instruments put together is what creates the sound of one band. So I feel establishing a sound for each instrument and having your students know that that sound is what they are working for is important.
Good answer. How would you teach breathing to a student?
Okay, well, first, the diaphragm is very important. The diaphragm is where all your air goes, and I would like to be able to show the students that that's how you breathe. I'm going to stand up then for this.
Okay.
So I would have them put one of their hands on the diaphragm, and I would turn on the metronome and tell them, let's breathe in for 4 counts and out for 4 counts. And the whole point is for them, when they take in air, to be able to feel their diaphragm expand. That's the point. And if it does not expand, they are not taking in enough air. Yes, and that is very important. Of course, before that, I would make sure everything was relaxed. But there is no tension in order for them to be able to take in enough air. Also, another good breathing exercise is so they could visualize how they are breathing, is you could have them hold their hand in front of their face and tell them, let's breathe in for 4 counts and out for 4 counts. And then you could, of course, change it up. But so they can visualize it, have it start right out here. When you breathe in, have them move their hand closer to the face so they can visualize it and breathe out. And so by having them feel the diaphragm to see how much air they need to take in, and then by helping them visualize their air, when they are doing a warm-up or playing a piece of music and they see they only have 1 beat to breathe in, then remembering visualization of their hand and feeling the diaphragm, they will know exactly how much air they need to take in a short amount of time in order to be able to perform that passage.
Good. One last question we have for you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any questions for us as a program?
Okay. So I know that being a band director is not only teaching music and dealing with the students, but it's also about dealing with the parents. So since you have experience with this, how would I go about dealing with any very angry parents? Let's say I am not teaching their children, what I want them to know, that I am doing this and that and the other, or that I kept them too late. How would you go about doing that?
Typically, we've had a pretty accessible program. We make it easy for parents to come and talk to us, and if they're upset about something, we try to be as understanding as possible without causing any harm to the situation. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Okay. For a freshman coming into high school, so they're doing marching band for the first time, what do you think is the most important thing to teach them before they get started?
Man. Now, in reference to marching band or to just fundamentals of their instrument?
Probably marching band,
Marching band?
considering they've never done it before.
You have to start with the first step. You have to teach them how to push off and how to step. Before you even do that, you have to teach them how to hold their instrument. Because if you teach them how to step and they're holding their instrument, sideways, that doesn't work. So.
Okay.
Hello?
Good.
Okay. Yeah, we're good. Thank you.